Hi, I'm Bertha.
And I'm Janice.
And you're watching the History Channel.
On Channel 8.
Here I am with two 17th century English thinkers, Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. These men set forth ideas that would be the key to the Enlightenment. Both men lived through the upheavals of the English Civil War and came to very different conclusions about human nature and the role of government. Hobbes, tell me your belief.
I believe that people are naturally cruel, greedy, and selfish. If not strictly controlled, they would fight, rob, and oppress one another.
Interesting. Now, Locke, what do you have to say?
I have a more optimistic view of human nature. I believe people are basically reasonable and moral. Further, they had certain natural rights which belong to humans since birth.
What do these rights include?
These natural rights that the humans had since birth include the right to life, liberty, and property.
Hobbes, I understand that you believe in a social contract.
Yes, in a social contract, people agree to give up their freedom for a more organized society. Only a powerful ruler could ensure an orderly society. Therefore, such government was an absolute monarchy which could impose order and obedience.
Locke, can you tell me about your book, The Two Treaties of Government?
In my book, I argue that people form governments to protect their natural rights. The best government has limited power and is accepted by all citizens. Therefore, I reject absolute monarchy, because that is not an equal balance of power.
People should live in a life of a state of nature, which includes solidarity, poor conditions, and just harsh, short lives.
Thank you for joining me here today. Now over to Janice with sports.
Hi, I'm Janice, and I'm here today to talk to you about sports in Rome. In Rome, at around 180 AD, there is a Circus Maximus, which was Rome's largest racecourse. Chariots thundered around an oval course, making dangerous tight turns. Fans were very passionate and bet on their favorite teams, red, blue, or white. Both the rich and poor enjoyed this form of entertainment, and also gladiator contests. Which leads to another sport which was very popular in Rome, gladiator fights. Many gladiators were slaves who had been trained to fight. In an arena, they battled each other. The crowd were very animated. They cheered for those who they liked and booed for those who they did not like. Sometimes, fans even went so far and threw the thumbs down signal that the gladiator should be killed. And now, over to Leslie to talk to you about the Renaissance.
About to grace your eyes, if you happen to encounter Italy, will be the greatest experience that you will ever see in your entire lifetime, the Renaissance. Now, it has begun in Italy for several reasons. There is new interest in culture of ancient Rome. The city has many influences from the Greek and Roman times, and the city-states in Italy prosper much during these middle-aged times that we are currently in. There are powerful merchant classes that are stressing education and individual achievement and work, which gives people more incentive to do better. You're calling the Renaissance the Age of Rebirth, and the hub of this rebirth is in Florence, Italy. The Medicis are the most powerful family currently in Florence, and their influence further helped to carry along interest in the arts, and that is one of the main points of the Renaissance. It is a time of change. We are experiencing political, economical, social, and cultural big changes. Many of the Renaissance thinkers do not concentrate on life after death, but on living in the moment, in the present, right here and now. They stress talent in many fields, including art, writing, explorers, and expanding everybody's horizons on ways of thinking and philosophy. Humanism has begun to replace religious or spiritual issues, and education has also made a turn for the better. We are focusing currently on grammar, rhetoric, history, and poetry in our education systems, and this type of education system will better our children and the students to become better, harder workers in the future and get into higher classes and get better jobs. Some of the greatest works of this great time of change are the paintings, sculptures, and architecture. Many wealthy patrons support many of the artists who are very influential in this society. The artists developed new techniques to portray subjects in realistic ways. One of these main techniques is perspective. Perspective is an artistic technique used to give paintings and drawings a 3D effect to make the viewer feel as if they are really truly in the painting.
This is an example of perspective.
Some of the most popular of these artists that use perspective in much of their work are the world-renowned Leonardo da Vinci for his most famous work, the Mona Lisa, Michelangelo for his work, the Pieta, and Raphael is known for the School of Athens. There is also a Renaissance currently happening in Flanders in northern France, and there we are experiencing some of the newest, greatest inventions that will change the way of life as we know it. For example, Johann Gutenberg has invented the first printing press. Before the printing press, as many of you know, there are only a certain amount of books in all of Europe, and only the wealthy can afford these books. Therefore, the lower class cannot have as good an education and cannot be as literate as the rest of us, and therefore cannot move up from their lower class level. With the invention of the printing press, more copies of these books can be made and sold to those in all classes, so that those in lower classes may also be literate like those in the classes above them. The printing revolution includes cheaper books, illiteracy rates declining, and exposure to new ideas. So far, since starting in Flanders of northern France, this Renaissance in the north has spread to Spain, Germany, and England. The Renaissance in Italy is also affecting the Northern Renaissance, and this is also affecting the one in Italy. Northern artist Albrecht Dürer is most known for his works of engraving with religious upheaval. There are also many northern writers that have written in vernacular, or the common language of the people, so that people that aren't as literate can understand. Northern writers also have been writing in the vernacular, so that those who aren't as literate as others may be able to better understand and read. Vernacular is the language of the people. So many northern writers have created a Greek version of the Bible in vernacular, so people can better understand it. The Greek translation of the Bible has helped to spread Renaissance humanism to a larger group of people. One of the best known of these Northern Renaissance writers is William Shakespeare. So far, he has written over 37 plays, and I have a feeling that these will be very popular and will be performed for ages and ages to come. Thank you very much for listening. Keep looking out for the Renaissance, and now over to Abby.
In crime news, the first international trial of war criminals are underway. No issues have been noted among the Allied nations as they work to uphold the laws and procedures of the London Charter of International Military Tribunal. Under this charter, both military officers and civilian officials can be accused of war and war-related crimes. The International Military Tribunal defines crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. The defendants are also cooperating well with their chosen lawyers. Many of the defendants state their crimes to be ex post facto law, meaning they were laws which criminalized actions committed before the laws were drafted. In front of an 8-member tribunal, which has determined sentences, 24 persons have been incriminated. 12 of the 24 incriminated have been condemned to death. A hanging of 10 condemned is scheduled for October 16, 1946. 12 additional subsequent trials will be held following the trial of major war criminals. In the coming trials, 185 indicted will be tried for crimes against humanity in the doctors' trials, and for the enforcement of eugenics of the law of the Third Reich in the judges' trials. Those who have committed crimes against war prisoners and used violence against concentration camp inmates will also be tried. Other subsequent trials will include the trials of German industrialists accused of plundering occupied countries and using slavery. As they continue, full coverage on the Nuremberg trials will be provided.